Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on this week's Facebook Live with Victoria Rennoldson. Gosh, I don't know what's wrong with my words today. Victoria's joining us. We're actually live in West Hampstead, and she's part of the Hampstead group. So we're going to find out a bit more about her business, and she's going to tell us any tips for someone, another woman in business that might be looking to set up her own business. So first of all, let's hear a bit about you. What does your business do, and how does it help people?
Okay, so my business is called Perfect Cuppa English, and what we do is we work with expats and people who have relocated to London with English language courses or British culture courses. So that might be for everyday or it might be for business. And the British culture courses are particularly useful for people who want to learn more about life in the UK through current affairs or real life topics.
I'm sure they probably know more than someone actually living, born and bred in the UK.
Well, the interesting thing is we sometimes get people who want to take the Life in the UK test. And so that's again something we can help with, just in terms of understanding the different topics that they might need to know about.
Certainly, considering the political situation at the moment, I'm sure you're getting a lot of work through that.
Indeed.
So how did you get started in this? What's your background?
So I did something completely different before this. So I was in brand marketing for over 10 years, and I worked for quite large American and British companies. And what I was really struck by when I was working in these companies just was how different sometimes the way that English was being used. So English clearly is a very international language. Lots of people speak it, but actually depending where you are around the globe, people use it in quite different ways. So there might be there are nuances of how people communicate, certain situations which are difficult where people do things in slightly different ways. And what I particularly noticed was for British people, sometimes the style can be a little bit indirect, a bit too subtle, and the message might be lost with somebody who doesn't understand those messages. So that was the first insight, and that made me think about language in a bit more detail. And then a little bit later, when I was looking to do a new challenge and find something new to do, I actually retrained in teaching English as a foreign language. And I went to work for some other people initially. But when I had a young family myself, I was really struck by the large numbers of different national communities around London. So you would find expat groups from Japan or from France, to name just but a few. And, clearly there were people who spoke English quite well and could communicate quite well and socialise and meet new people. But it really sort of felt a bit sad sometimes that there were groups of people sometimes who clearly didn't have the English to be able to meet people confidently or be able to have small talk with people. And sometimes even met people who would love to be able to get back to work, but they just didn't have the English level to do that. So what I really thought was combine these two insights into what I do right now. And that's when I set up Perfect Cuppa English. It's called that because I love tea. Clearly, I love my tea.
And we're both sitting here with our teas.
And the other thing as well is that, for me, tea is something, the way the British drink the tea is very specific. And that is something, I talk a lot about as well in my sessions about British culture.
Very applicable. So you've been in the Hampstead group, so there've been a few months now?
Yes, I mean it's coming up for 6 months now. Yeah, it's been quite a while.
Gosh, time flies. And so when you first joined, what were the things that made you think, I have to be part of this group?
That's a really interesting question, because when I was thinking back to that time, I've done a lot of networking as I set up my business, and I've been running the business now for 3.5 years. Wow. And there are lots of different types of groups out there, and I tried different groups to see what they were like and what I enjoyed. But what I was really struck by, I came to the Cappuccino Connections initially at the Athena group.
And that was a long time before you actually visited.
Indeed. So I came along, and I was really impressed by the variety of people that I met, and also the numbers of people that I met. And although that was quite a social and relaxed and informal meeting, I really felt that I got actual benefit from that meeting. So there was a Hampstead member who came to that group, Shannon. Hello, Shannon. And Shannon was brilliant. I explained what I did for my business, and she said, you know what, I'm part of an expat Facebook group, which could really benefit from your services. And she went out there and posted on my behalf, and as a result I had 6 inquiries and 3 bookings. That's
amazing.
Which is incredibly concrete evidence of how it works. Yes. So I'm a great believer in that there's an important part of the social and soft benefits of networking, but equally for me there has to be the deliverable of actual business that comes from it, and for me that was really compelling. And as a result, I came to your Hampstead meeting and I really liked the structure of it and the way you approached it. And therefore, that's when I joined.
Yeah, and we're really happy that you joined as a member. So far, what would you say have been the benefits, aside from getting business?
Apart from
before
business,
you even came to your first meeting?
So that was pretty amazing, really. But there are lots of benefits to Athena. I think for me, networking in itself is a fantastic opportunity to grow your business. But the way the Athena meeting works is in a very specific way, and I quite like that. It's incredibly structured, so everybody gets their fair share of the airtime and gets a chance to really talk about what they need very specifically. And I really like the way that we have that sort of structure so that everybody kind of feels like they get the benefit from it. At the same time, though, it's not a very rigid system. So what I also like the fact is that, it's incredibly social. I like the fact it's female oriented, and that matters to me, and it makes a difference to me. And I also like the fact that it's not very, there's no sort of targets as such. So you're not having to say, definitely have to bring in this amount of business to other people. I know some groups work like that, but that's not necessarily for me. But I have to say the members are brilliant, really lovely women, very interesting. There are members who I thought initially, I don't know how I'm going to help them or how we're going to work together. But you find ways. Yeah. You do find ways. And the visiting members every month are brilliant because, you generally, Sophie, bring along 5 or 6 visiting members. And that makes quite a good dynamic. So you're always meeting new people every single month as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So coming back to you now, so you've been in your business 3.5 years, as you said. What would you say has been the biggest challenge from either running your business, starting your business?
Yes, it's a good question. And I think, there are challenges all the time. They always come up in different ways and forms. But I think particularly for me, it was really those first 6 months of setting up the business, something I'd never done before. And although I was in a sector, in an area that I'd done previously, this was doing it on my own terms. And for me, it was really learning that actually there is that initial rush and excitement. You're getting started, you've got a website sorted, you've got your social media going. And that's brilliant. And you get some clients and that feels incredibly good. You get these highs from that. But then, it's when you're kind of a few months in and something goes wrong, or maybe, clients come and go, that you start to kind of get these doubts. Is this going to work or is this not going to work? And that's for me when I actually got myself a mentor. Oh, right. And I found that incredibly useful. And I also started networking. I realised what I needed was, although my work is incredibly social and I meet a lot of people, both as clients and potential clients, actually it's really good to have a space which is about networking and supporting yourself and other women, and being able to learn as well about business skills in a sort of entrepreneurial way.
Yeah, so what about any tips that you can give to women in business that might be watching right now?
Yeah. So, the mentor thing is a really, really kind of key one. I'd say everybody really does need a mentor. I think it's kept me on the straight and narrow. The person I've been working with now for over 3 years. And hello, Laura, if you were watching from Australia. She's actually based in Australia. But we do it via Skype, which is really interesting. And, I think she knows my business inside out. She's great because even though, I've had some great successes along the way, she keeps challenging me and asking me questions. Yeah. And I think it's just really good to have that outside perspective and somebody saying to you, actually, have you thought about it this way? Have you thought about, whether you can expand in this way? So that's been really, really good for me. I think the other thing as well is the networking thing. Now, everybody's quite individual and it does depend on your personal style, but I think, networking is incredibly powerful. And I would recommend Athena. I definitely, indeed. But I would recommend it because I think, even if you just go along and, try it out, come along to Cappuccino Connections, Coffee Morning.
Yeah, there's many ways you can try it out.
Exactly, and you've got the new group opening. So from my point of view, I kind of feel like networking is incredibly important because it's even whether it's the social contact, the support, or even it's be able to ask questions like how do I do this on social media, or how would I go about developing my website in this way. Somebody out there in the network has a contact who can do that. And I think the final thing for me is I've had some brilliant collaborations through the Athena So I have done collaborations with different members. I've done an interview with somebody called Diana,
Yeah, saw that one.
where she interviewed me and we were able to talk about both our businesses. I'm about to start a new collaboration with two of the members from Hampstead Group.
I look forward to seeing that.
Indeed, that's just a work in progress, so watch this space. But that's a really nice idea about, working together to deliver projects and promotions which perhaps are bigger than you can deliver as an individual.
Yeah,
so that's been a brilliant plus side for me as well.
Yeah, just want to add to the mentoring. I've had mentoring as well, and my business certainly would not be where it is today without having someone just either to tell you what to do, give you support, or just point you in the right direction when you really don't know what you're doing. Especially when it comes to marketing, I really didn't have a clue. I've learned so much from having a mentor with that. Right, so we're pretty much wrapped up with all of the questions. If people want to find out more about you, and either if they want to work with you or find out more about you, where can they go to find out more?
Of course. So I clearly have the website. That is perfectcuppaenglish.co.uk. But I'm also on social media. So I have a Facebook page where I post quite regularly about London life,
really good post.
British culture. Thank you. Thank you. British culture insights and language tips as well. And you can also find me on LinkedIn, Victoria Rennoldson, and also on Instagram, Perfect Cuppa. So one of those, you should definitely be able to find me.
And we'll be posting the links under this Facebook Live once we posted it, so you can go directly to whatever page you prefer. And if you do want to find out more about the Athena Network, we do have a group in Hampstead, as we've just been speaking about, but there is also a group in Muswell Hill and Finchley. And I'm launching a new group in St John's Wood as well. So if you're interested in being part or finding out more of any of those groups, please do visit my page, which we're on right now, or message me directly to find out more. And that's it. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you so much, Sophie. Thank you.